Good afternoon. It's Friday. Finally got to be Friday. Uh, I'm not on the program tonight, but I will be doing some music and preaching during the revival at Chestnut Ridge Baptist Church, just south of Ozark on Chestnut Ridge, south of Ozark and east of Spokane. Come and be with us if you can. Service starts at 6 o'clock. Our good brother Hosey Ballou will be preaching tonight at 6. Our good brother Jay Scribner will be preaching tomorrow night, Saturday night at 6. I will be preaching Sunday morning at 10. And Brother Ian Hendricks, uh, who is half of our rest of us, he's half of our age. He's going to preach the 11 o'clock message on Sunday morning. And if you don't have anywhere to go, or if you happen to be down that way on Sunday, as soon as the morning service is over, they're going to have a big feed. And I heard a rumor that steak and shrimp was on the menu. This is not a lie. I don't lie about food. And I don't tell people we're having steak when we're having beanie weenie. I know it'll be good because I know the people that are doing it, and they're going to put on the dog for you. So you come be with us if you can. God bless all of you. That's the end of the commercial. Now, yesterday we finished chapter 34. We finished chapter 34. I don't need to bring us up to date because we finished the chapter yesterday. Remember, the whole point of the chapter was that God blessed Zedekiah for a wicked king. God blessed him for doing the right thing, and was going to give him a good, quiet, peaceful death, let him be buried with his own people. But then Zedekiah went back on his word and did exactly the opposite of what he promised God he would do. And so God says, well, sorry, Zedekiah, but now you're going to die. You're going to go to Babylon. You're going to be taken captive. You're not ever going to see this place again. And so, as a matter of fact, he never saw anything again because before they left Judah, the king of Babylon put out his eyes. He killed Zedekiah's sons before him to let him know that his seed would not exist after him. And then they put out his eyes. So the last thing Zedekiah saw were his wives and his sons being slaughtered. And then they put out Zedekiah's eyes. I sure am glad Nebuchadnezzar got saved. See, he gets saved in chapter 4 of the book of Daniel. Well, I'm glad that he got saved because he was really a bad dude, man. But now I'm going to see Nebuchadnezzar in heaven. And I like that idea. I'll say, hey, you old reprobate, how are you doing? He says, oh, I'm just sitting here blinded by the brilliant light of Jesus Christ as he called us out of darkness into his marvelous light. There's a city that looks o'er the valley of death, and its glories have never been told, where the Lamb is the light in the midst of the night. In that beautiful city go, where the sun never sets and the leaves never fade, and the righteous forever will shine like the stars. In that beautiful city of gold. And you could tell my singing voice hadn't come back yet, but you get the idea. So anyway, Zedekiah, he did right. God gave him one deal, and then he did wrong. God took it away because they had made a covenant to set all the prisoners free, and they didn't do it. Well, they did it, then they took them back. So anyway, we'll move on to chapter 35. This is another narrative chapter, and actually it's so self-explanatory. There's only a couple of references that I will point out, and and they're not long references. And so I think there might be a chance of us getting through chapter 35 today. Now, I wouldn't stake my life on it because I could always start talking about something that pops into my head as we go through these verses. But it is what we call a linear narrative. Hello, Shirley. God bless you. It's what they call a linear narrative. So we leave chapter 34. We come to chapter 35 of Jeremiah. And we're going to talk about the Rechabites. And that's not people who eat who were in a car wreck. They're not the Rechabites. Kid, dynamite. If my singing voice ever comes back, I'll be thankful. I can put up with this rough talking voice. It just makes me feel you sound like a grumpy old man. I can deal with that, but the singing voice gone and the fiddle arm gone. I'm having trouble. I'm playing my guitar and talking my songs. I might as well have been a folk singer or a beatnik or something for all good it does me. Chapter 35, the book of the prophet Jeremiah. Beginning verse 1, the word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. This happens around 607, 608 BC, near the very end of Jehoiakim's rule. Because Nebuchadnezzar is going to come and take away Jehoiakim's son, Jeconiah, and going to install Zedekiah as king. So I've told you before that Jeremiah does not go in a straight line. We jump forth and back, and that's why we need to. We're talking about a period that lasts from about 625 BC to about 586 BC. We're talking about around 100, around 50 years of Jeremiah's ministry, and so it skips time. The books are presented and ordered by the Lord in the order that He wants them to be and to present us the material. But they're not in the order that Jeremiah wrote them. That's what I'm trying to say. So yesterday Zedekiah was king in 590 BC. Now Jehoiakim is the king, and that is Zedekiah's brother. Jehoiakim is the king, and it's 607, 608 BC. So that's when we're at. The word which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Josiah was the last good king. Go unto the house of the Rechabites, and speak unto them, and bring them into the house of the Lord, into one of the chambers, and give them wine to drink. Woohoo! No, I would go for that at the drop of a hat. Somebody told me one time that if it wasn't for olives and martinis, I would have starved. I was a drunk. Everybody knows I was a drunk. I don't try to hide it. It's a matter of public record. But I'm washed in the blood. I'm saved. I'm clean. And He called me to preach His word and made me a prophet. And I stand before Him and I bow to Him and no one else. As General Sam Houston said, I bow the knee to Christ, and there the list ends. On another occasion, they said, you need to be humble. And he said, I humble myself before God, and that's it. So I feel the same way. But anyway, I'm not ashamed of my past, but I'm not scared of it anymore. If somebody told me I was going to get to drink wine, I would run for the door. They used to, before the drunk driving laws got so strict, they used to have happy hour everywhere. You could get 2 drinks for the price of 1, and they competed to get customers by laying out the biggest appetizer snack bar. And it got to where some of the fancier bars were putting out a full buffet just so you'd sit there and drink. And so if you hit them just right, you could buy 2 drinks for $3 or $4 back then, $2, $3, 2 drinks, and just get call liquor where you're not, getting fancy booze. For $2 or $3, you could have 2 drinks, get a buzz on, and eat as much as you could hold. Thank God I don't have to live that way anymore. I'm no longer afraid of alcohol. It does not enter my thoughts anymore, except when I read something like this, and I laugh because I don't have to wake up hungover. I don't have to wake up in jail. I don't have to wake up alone and wondering if my wife has left me or thrown me out. Thank God. Thank God for Jesus Christ and this great deliverance that he's given me and can give you too. God told Jeremiah to gather them up, take them into one of the chambers, the Rechabites, and give them wine to drink. Verse 3, then I, Jeremiah, took Jaazaniah, the son of Jeremiah, the son of Habazaniah, and his brethren, and all his sons, and the whole house of the Rechabites. And I brought them into the house of the Lord, into the chamber of the son of Hanan. Now, obviously, Jeremiah was not locked up today. For the last 2 chapters, he was in the court of the prison. But this is happening roughly 16 or 17, 18 years before Jeremiah's in prison. And I brought him into the chambers of the son of Hanan, the son of Igdaliah, a man of God, which was by the chamber of the princes. See, Jeremiah wasn't the only one. There was another man of God. His name was Igdaliah, which was above the chamber of Maaseiah, the son of Shallum, the keeper of the door. Remember Shallum? He was the one that got Jeremiah out of jail about 20 years before, and he'll get him out of jail again, or his son will. And I set before the sons of the house of the Rechabites pots full of wine and cups. And I said unto them, drink ye wine. He said, boys, the party's on me. Belly up to the bar, boys. Better loosen your belt. Only drink when you're all alone or with somebody else. Oh, that was not my song. That was from the unseekable Molly Brown, the last big budget musical that MGM ever made. And is noteworthy because of a great performance by Debbie Reynolds. People either love her or hate her, but I thought she was fantastic. But they said, we will drink no wine. Now listen, it's free. It's sitting there. We got pots of wine. Fill your cups. Fill your cups to the brim. I hate booze. People say I hate booze because I was a drunk. Well, that might be true, but I hate booze because the Bible says don't. The Bible says don't drink. The Bible says don't. Wine is a mocker. The Bible says not to look on the wine when it is red. I have young men tell me all the time that it's okay if they drink in moderation. And they say that it's a sin to be drunk, but it's not a sin to drink. You know what? In my drinking experience and in my observation, I never knew anybody who drank at all that didn't get drunk sooner or later. So we're just quibbling at the finer points here. The argument is a loser. How many men do you have to kill to be a murderer? How many wives do you have to run off with to be an adulterer? How many drinks you got to have to be a drunk? That's right, class. You get a gold star today. But they said, we will drink no wine. For Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, ye shall drink no wine, neither ye nor your sons forever. Neither shall ye build house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have any, but all your days ye shall dwell in tents, that ye may live many days in the land where ye be strangers. See, they weren't Jews. They were Arabs. They were from the east. They were from the sons of Ishmael, from the sons of Esau. from the sons of the concubines by Abraham that he sent off to the eastern country. Thus we have obeyed the voice of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, in all that he hath charged us, to drink no wine all our days, we, our wives, our sons, nor our daughters, nor to build houses for us to dwell in. Neither have we vineyard, nor field, nor seed, but we have dwelt in tents, and have obeyed and done according to all that Jonadab, our father, commanded us. Now, let's look at what this means, and I'm going to go a little backwards order than what I normally would. Just quickly, Ephesians chapter 6. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. It's the fifth commandment. The first commandment with a promise. And the promise is this: that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the admonition, in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Well, obviously, the old man Jonadab, the son of Rechab, he raised them right. They remembered him. They honored him. This originates, of course, in the Ten Commandments. Chapter 20 of Exodus, beginning of verse 12, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Honor your father. They honored Jonadab, their father, the son of Rechab. And I want to give you just a little bit of speculation about Jonadab. We don't know much about him. Matter of fact, all we know about him in particular is these things that his descendants say. But about 400 years before this happens, Saul is dead. Judah has come to follow David. The other houses still follow Saul. But Saul is dead. Jonathan, his son, is dead. And the army is being led by their military commander, Abner. And Abner is pretty much acting as the substitute king and prime minister and everything else for one of Saul's sons who remains alive. His name is Ishbosheth. And this is where we're first introduced to the Rechabites. And it's not a pretty story. Sometimes we take the things that are revealed in the Bible, warts and all, because they're true. And what we're going to find is the original father of this tribe, Rechab, the father of the Rechabites, the father of Jonadab. We're going to find that he acted pretty bad on one occasion. And then I will explain to you why I'm reading this. In chapter 4, 2 Samuel. It's the first of the double books, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Beginning in verse 1 of chapter 4. And when Saul's son heard that Abner was dead, because that old bloody Joab murdered him in Hebron, that's David's home, David's capital in Judah, his hands were feeble, and all the Israelites were troubled. And Saul's son had two men that were captains of bands. The name of the one was Baana, and the name of the other was Rechab. The sons of Rimmon, a Beerothite that was in the land of Ammon. on the other side of Jordan, the land settled by one of the sons born of Lot's daughters. She called his name Bon-Ami, and he became the father of the Ammonites. Ammon is modern day Jordan. They were the sons of Rimmon, a Beerothite, of the children of Benjamin. For Beeroth was reckoned to Benjamin, a territory of theirs on the other side of Jordan. And the Beerothites fled to Gideam and were sojourners there until this day. And Jonathan, Saul's son, that was lame of both his feet, he was 5 years old when tidings came of Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass as she made haste to flee that he fell and became lame. And his name was Mephibosheth. We'll talk about old Mephibosheth another time. I preached about him. It's been probably a couple of years ago, but it was in another context. And the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, Rechab and Baanah, went and came about the heat of the day to the house of Ishbosheth, who lay on a bed at noon. Now, I don't know whether he was sick or afraid or just lazy. At my house, nobody was in bed after daylight unless they were sick or dying. You know, old people who were dying, they could lay in the bed until they're ready to get up and have a cup of tea or something. But, you know, any kid or anybody that worked, if you unless you were sick or dying, you weren't in bed after daylight. My grandpa and my daddy, they used to say the world starts at daylight and you need to be ready to meet it. You know, I don't have any reason to get up before daylight, but I do because that's how I was raised. That's what I know. There were many times when I went back to bed when I was playing in honky tonks and stuff back in the day. But I was always up before daylight. Because when it started getting light in there, I woke up. Nobody had to call me. He lay on the bed at noon, this Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, Jonathan's brother, little brother, younger brother. And they, Rechab and Baanah, they came thither into the midst of the house as though they would have fetched wheat. And they smote him under the fifth rim, they stabbed him. And Rechab and Baanah, his brother, escaped. For when they came into the house, he lay on the bed in his bedchamber, and they smote him and slew him and beheaded him and took his head and gat them away through the plain all night. And they brought the head of Ishbosheth unto David to Hebron. Some people say Hebron, some people say Hebron. I think they pronounce it Hebron nowadays, but I'm not sure. And said to the king, David, Behold, the head of Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, thine enemy, which sought thy life. And the Lord hath avenged my lord the king this day of Saul and of his seed. And David answered Rechab and Baanah his brother, the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, and said unto them, As the Lord liveth, who hath redeemed my soul out of all adversity. When one told me, saying, Behold, Saul is dead, thinking to have brought good tidings, I took hold of him myself and slew him in Ziklag, who thought that I would have given him a reward for his tidings. How much more when wicked men like you guys have slain a righteous person, Ishbosheth, in his own house upon his bed? Shall I not therefore require his blood of your hand and take you away from the earth? The king had spoken. And David commanded his young men, and they slew him and cut off their hands and their feet and hanged them up over the pool in Hebron. But they took the head of Ishbosheth and buried it in the sepulchre of Abner, Saul's great general in Hebron, whom old bloody Joab murdered. That's another story for another day. Well, apparently, old Rechab was really what my grandmother would have called a ring-tailed tutor. Now, don't ask me what a ring-tailed tutor is, but it must be pretty bad, because when I was acting up, they said I was jiggle-footed because I couldn't sit still. But when I was acting up, she would go, "You're a regular ring-tailed tutor." I never understood what that meant, but obviously it meant something to her. I just knew that it was unpleasant and it was unacceptable behavior on my part. Rechab was a wicked man, but he had a son, or maybe he had a grandson. His name was Jonadab. It says he was the son of Rechab. But they would also call in those days the grandson. They would also call him the son of, and the same of Rechab. In the same way that they would have said that that Jesus is the son of David. Well, many times removed, but he is the son of David. And said that we have dwelt in tents, and he probably saw, old Jonadab saw what happened to his daddy, Rechab, and how he acted bad. And then David became the king, and Jonadab decided, we're not going to get drunk and kill people anymore. We're visitors in their land. We come from the other side of Jordan. If we want to stay around here, we need to be perfect citizens. We won't take any of their land. We won't take any hands out from them. And we'll just drink the water of the land. We'll eat the grass of the land. We'll run our flocks and herds. We'll live in tents. We will not buy property. Mainly, we'll stay sober. We won't drink. And then they'll know that when we speak, that what we say is true and it's not clouded by liquor. That's what this Jonadab decided to do, because look at how it's changed. He told his descendants and they passed it on. He says, you shall drink no wine, neither you nor your sons forever. Neither shall you build house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have any. But all your days you shall dwell in tents, that you may live many days in the land where ye be strangers. And thus have we obeyed the voice of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, in all that he hath charged us. And this is Jaazaniah talking, the Rehabite. We done everything he said. Drink no wine, not we, our sons, our wives, our daughters, build no houses. No vineyard, no field, no seed, but we dwelt in tents and were herdsmen. We obeyed. We did according to all that Jonadab our father commanded us, and passed it down from generation to generation over nearly 400 years, and they still obeyed. They would not drink the wine. They would not break their father's commandment. Can anybody listening to this or watching this say that they've never broken the Father's commandment? I can't. I'm guilty. They never broke it. 11. But it came to pass when Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, came up into the land, that we said, Come, let us go to Jerusalem for fear of the army of the Chaldeans and for fear of the army of the Syrians. So we dwell at Jerusalem. We left our own pastures and we came here because we were scared of the Babylonians. We lived through the Assyrians, but we're scared of the Babylonians. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, God rewards the faithful. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Go and tell the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Will ye not receive instruction to hearken to my words, saith the Lord? The words of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, that he commanded his sons not to drink wine, are performed. For unto this day they drink none, but obey their father's commandment. Notwithstanding, I have spoken unto you, talking to Judah and Jerusalem, rising early and speaking, but ye hearken not unto me. I've read you the passage where he says that I sent you prophets over and over and you wouldn't listen until there was no remedy and I had to take you away from before my sight. I've said also unto you all my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, return ye now every man from his evil way, amend your doings, and go not after other gods to serve them, and ye shall dwell in the land which I have given to you and to your fathers. But ye have not inclined your ear, nor hearkened unto me, because the sons of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, the Rechabites, have performed the commandment of their father, which he commanded them. But this people, my own people, have not hearkened unto me. Why couldn't you obey me like these heathens obeyed their father? They're more honorable than you are, and you're my people. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will bring upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil that I have pronounced against them. But they have not heard. Because I have spoken unto them, but they have not heard. I have called unto them, but they have not heard. They have not answered. And Jeremiah said unto the house of the Rechabites, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, because ye obeyed the commandment of Jonadab your father, and kept all his precepts, and done according unto all that he hath commanded you. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, Jonadab, the son of Rechab, shall never want a man to stand before me forever. You weren't loyal to me, God says, but you were loyal to your father who gave you commandment. And my people, I was a father to them, and I gave them commandment, and they did not obey. But because you were faithful to your father, because you honored your father, then he will always have a descendant who will stand before me. That means in every generation, I guarantee you that there is a descendant of Jonadab, a Rechabite, living in the world somewhere today. Because God says, you will have a man to stand before me forever. That was a reward for obedience. Not obedience to God the Father, but just obedience to an earthly father and being faithful. Am I saying that there's more ways to heaven than one? No. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man can cometh unto me, cometh unto the Father, but by me. The Lord Jesus Christ, he is the one and only way to heaven. He is the one and only Savior. He is the one and only begotten Son of God. He is the only crucified one. He is the only risen one. He is the only King of kings and Lord of lords. But what God did on that day to the sons of Jonadab, he says, you obeyed your daddy. You did what he told you. I appreciate that. I'm going to let a whole bunch of you live. I'm going to prosper you, and I'm going to make sure that Jonadab's bloodline never dies. I guarantee you that there is a descendant of Jonadab the Rechabite in the world today. I don't know who he is. He doesn't either. But he's there because God honors faithfulness. God bless you.